back to Love 101, where our purpose is to open the conversation about love and healthy relationships. I'm Najieb. This is our Love is Not a Game series, and today we are in part 2, the 2 curriculums. And our goal is to read chapters 3 and 4, which will be page 43 to page 53 if you're following in the book. To begin, let me say that you do not have to believe, accept, or welcome anything that I am saying. I'm just sharing. Moving on. So, grab your book, grab a partner. If you don't have one handy, then you got me. You're my partner and I'm your partner, so let's do this. Alright, so part 2. The 2 curriculums, page 43. Love versus the program. Here we're going to get into the thought system of love and the program. What is part 2 of this manual about? In this part of the manual, we will explore the thought system of love and the thought system of the program. We will explain the core principles of love and we will expose the core principles of the program. What is the purpose of this part of the manual? Well, the purpose of this part of the manual is to bring some clarity to the following questions. What questions are those? What is love really? Isn't that a good question? Don't you really wish you would know that, like, for sure? What is love really? Right? You know, exactly what is love? And also, what is love really not? Okay? Kind of like an address. It has to be specific, right? Where do you really live? Where are you really at right now? And where are you not? It's good to know both. No guesswork. And what is the program? How does love think? How does the program think? What are emotions and feelings? Good chapter. What is form and content? We're going to go in that chapter, form and content. What are the 2 guidance systems? How do you make decisions? What is true freedom? Aren't these some great questions? Yes, they are. Now let's explore some great answers. So, we're in chapter 3, the 2 thought systems. Love or the program. In this chapter we'll be covering the 2 thought systems. 1, love's thought system. 2, the program's thought system. Now, a thought system is a curriculum, as we said throughout this whole series. And a curriculum is a thought system. And a thought system is also a mindset or a way of thinking about something. So we're going to explore how love thinks about things, how the program thinks about things, what are their mindset. Again, this book is based entirely on mindset, the principles of the mind, how it's being thought of, in the mind in which love thinks, in the mind in which the program thinks. Unlike, a lot of people are familiar with the 5 love languages, right? And in that curriculum or that book, it explores love as these different types of expressions of acts, you know, physical things like time spent together, gifts given, words of affirmation, physical touch, and things like that. And the thing is, that is not universally true. It doesn't hold for everyone. So physical touch, for example, right? You say, well, my love language is physical touch. I like to be touched. Really now? Let's get a little deeper into that. So you like to be touched all the time? Probably not. You like to be touched in any situation, anywhere, by anyone? No, right? So you're being a little general, actually it's just not true, because even the same person that you may be thinking about touching you, you don't want them touching you all the time, in every situation, right? In every part of your body. So we have to be very clear. And when I'm talking about a thought system in a principle, a concept, not a concept, the content of love, such as appreciation. Now, appreciation you can have at all times for someone, for anyone. You can have in all situations for someone, for anyone. And you can have all the time. That's the difference. Okay, and that's what makes it universal rather than special. Moving on. So, we talked about a thought system as a curriculum. We will cover the core principles of each thought system. We will cover what they teach you about yourself and what they teach you about your relationship. We will learn how love thinks and how the program thinks. You will learn the lessons of love and the lessons of the program. You will learn how to identify love's guidance in your relationship. You'll also learn how to protect yourself from the program's misguidance by learning to identify it. Let's begin. It's kind of like military warfare or training, where you learn not only the tactics for how to win and beat your enemy, but you also learn how your enemy operates and moves and thinks and operates, because that's important. You're like, okay, we have an enemy, but we don't know where it is, what it is, who it is. They could be walking around wearing our uniform. We don't know. But we know that. But if we know one thing about the enemy, we know that they stink, right? So even if they're wearing your clothes, smiling, looking at you, saying, hey, I'm giving you a high five, I'm on your team, you stink. And the enemy stinks, so you're the enemy. Just making up an example. But you have to know the qualities of the enemy. And the program, for our purposes, is the enemy of peace. And its thinking is thinking. I got that from Zig Ziglar. He talked about stinking thinking. But it is. It's stinking thinking. The way that you think when you're in the program doesn't feel good. It's foul. You ever have someone, you ask them, you know, they're just like a dark cloud over here. You're like, so how you doing? They're like, I'm fine. And you know, like, you're like, no, you're not. Like, the energy is just off. You know? That's the stinking thinking. That's the program. So let's talk about what the two teachers are in their guidance system. So, each thought system comes with a teacher. What is a teacher? A teacher is a guide. What does a teacher do? A teacher offers you guidance or misguidance, right? Just because you're being guided doesn't mean you're being guided the way that is best for you. It just means you're being guided. And it also means you're following, because you don't have to follow a teacher. So your teacher tells you what to do. Also, your teacher tells you how to think and how to see things. You're always listening to a teacher. And you only have two teachers. One teacher is love, the other teacher is the program, or fear. And what are these teachers teaching you about relationships? So both of these teachers are teaching you about what you are and what your partner is to you. What you are and what your partner is to you. So, for example, you know, back to popular culture stuff, like, you know, men are from Mars, women are from Venus, and act like a lady, think like a man, and these types of, just these titles of the book are teaching you that what you are and what your partner is are somehow different. In love teaches that we are the same. No, we don't look the same, sound the same, act the same, but in essence and content, we are the same, right? We all experience the same feelings, the same general thoughts, the same desires for happiness and peace and fulfillment, and even all the negative feelings and stuff too. We experience all that, just at different times, right? Today, I may be having a bad day. I may be feeling pretty frustrated. You may be feeling pretty grateful and glad. And then tomorrow it may be switched. Maybe I'm feeling grateful and glad. You're feeling frustrated, having that kind of day. We're the same. We just experience these things at different times. So if we can relate to that, the only thing that seems to separate us ultimately is time. It's not space. It's the times that we're experiencing these things. So we are all the same. And if you're thinking that, okay, well, men are from Mars, women are from Venus, when, you know, we're both here on Earth anyway, it's not. How is that helpful to you joining with someone who is so being set up as diametrically opposite from you? Complementary is different. than opposite. Just like you plug a plug into the outlet, negative and positive, and it makes a connection, you get the electricity. That's complementary. But opposite, repelling, is different. And that's not what we are. That's not what love does. Love doesn't repel. Love joins with itself. And we are love. You are love. I am love. Najieb, you are love. I need to hear that. So somebody's got to tell it to me. Might as well be me. Continuing. So both teachers are teaching you what you are and what your partner is to you. When your relationship is healthy, meaning loving, you do not need health. You do not need help or advice about what to do, because love is guiding you, right? When the good times, nobody needs to be told how to have a good time and to, not be upset when you're happy. Somebody's just happy, having a great time. You're like, it's okay. Don't be sad. It's like they don't need any counsel. They're fine. Times are great. Our goal is to learn the difference between the guidance of love and the guidance of fear, which is your insane programming. In the beginning, it is difficult to differentiate between them. Why? Because they sound the same. The only way to tell the difference between them is the content of what they're saying. And by they sound the same, meaning the inner voice, what's in your head, what, your internal voice inside you. It's not like it has different voices. Like one is a raspy, maniacal, evil villain, like, you should sabotage your relationship now. And then the other one's like harps and music and, oh, you should be more loving and appreciative. No, they sound the same to you. They sound familiar to you. So the only way to differentiate between them is the content of what they're saying. It would be helpful though, right? If every self-sabotaging thought came with like the little, thing on the side is like, yes, Najieb, now try to make someone bend to your will and that will bring happiness. It's like, you sound crazy though. You just sound crazy. Even if I wanted to do that, what do I look like listening to? So continuing, the content of love, which is your true guidance, is always healing, relaxed, and puts no pressure on you to do about anything. So if you're like seeing a missed call, and you're like, oh, I gotta call back right now. And again, it's not like business or something. It's like, oh, I don't know what they'll think if I don't call back right now. That's not loving voice talking to you. That's anxiety, which is connected to fear, talking. Because on the other side, the content of fear, which is your insane programming, is always distressing, difficult, and puts enormous strain on you about everything. Each teacher offers a complete thought system. So what is the content of love's thought system? It's truth, happiness, peace, appreciation, innocence, communication, fun, trust, and joining. What is the content of the program's thought system? The content of the program's thought system is fear, lies, dishonesty, guilt, jealousy, pain, and separation. As you can tell, these thought systems are diametrically opposed in every possible way. These thought systems are diametrically opposed in every possible way. They are opposed in direction, they are opposed in process, and they are opposed in result. They are not complementary. They are opposite. There is no connecting of them at all. Love and fear do not even operate on the same plane at all. So what are guidance systems? When you choose either thought system, you're activating the guidance system. That guidance system. The guide you choose will give you guidance in accordance with their curriculum, which is their thought system. The curriculum of love is peace and total fulfillment for everyone involved, right? So you get in a relationship, you're like, what do I want? What makes me happy? What's the perfect partner? All that for me. How about switch that question around and say, how can we be happy? What's the perfect relationship for us? What's the perfect connection that we can have where we're both totally fulfilled, regardless of the relationship connotations, whether they're romantic or platonic or not. It's about us. It's not about me, it's not about you, it's about us. If you want to join with someone, it has to be about what's in the best good for everyone involved. And we often feel that way, right? When we have certain leaders and positions and, we see that they're not thinking about us. They're thinking about their little group of friends or themselves, or straight up throwing us under the bus. You're like, I don't want you to be my leader because you're just taking advantage of your position. It has to be about everyone involved. Continuing, the curriculum of the program is fear, guilt, attack, and pain for everyone involved, in undue emotional strain, and also wastes of time. Absolute total wasting of time. Are you ready to totally embrace the curriculum of love? Yes, I am. And let me just say this because it came up for me. It's not directly connected, but it is connected to this. You deserve total appreciation, Naeem, and everyone listening. If anyone's responding to you without appreciation, then they're not responding to you. They're responding to their own fear in their mind. Because anything that is not of love is fear. And anything that someone is fearful of has nothing to do with you. You are not responsible for other people's feelings or their fears. You're responsible for your own. To keep that under control, right? So, I just wanted to say that. You deserve to be appreciated. So, make sure when you're communicating with people, you're in a state of appreciation. It doesn't always mean you say thank you, thank you, thank you, I'm so happy, I'm so grateful. But it means that you're at least not taking their time or your time for granted. You're not causing undue, unnecessary strain and conflict, which is what the program's favorite thing to do. It's cause arguments and contention out of nowhere for no reason. Continuing. Truth principle. You either be host to love or hostage to the program. That's a Course in Miracles thing. That's what it is. Host to love or hostage to the program. Think about a space, right? Your living space. You host people there out of what? Willingness, out of welcome, out of desire to have their company. But then if someone just busts in and pulls a gun on you and says, I have a list of demands. I want all your toilet paper. Now you're a hostage. You're like, but it's so soft. It's I can't give you that. So, now you're a hostage. And you gotta go into negotiations. Like, okay, maybe the 1-ply, but not the 2-ply. Not the 2-ply. No. Take my left arm, but not the 2-ply. Beat me up, but not the 2-ply. Not the 2-ply. Come on, y'all. All right. So, host to love or hostage to the program. There are no in-betweens and there are no gray areas. There are only two thought systems. Love is in alignment with your nature and the program is hazardous to your nature. When you follow love, your relationship will be healthy. When you follow the program, you will become sick. Your relationship will become sick. In the next section, we will discuss the importance of developing your immune system against the program. With immunity, your relationship will not suffer from its sickening effects. So, immune system, we're talking about relationship immunity. In order to remain healthy, you have to develop your immune system. Cold shower is a good way to develop your immune system, by the way. I always just plug that because they're good for you. They don't feel good, but they are good for you. Moving on. What is the purpose of an immune system? The purpose of an immune system is to protect you from things that would make you sick. In this case, it is the thought system of the program that would make you and your relationship sick. So how does an immune system work? Here's the thing, here's the key about immune systems. Immune system can only work if it can identify the threat, right? What's the point? Like, you hire a bunch of bodyguards to surround you. You're like, I have one enemy that I don't want you to let anywhere near me. And they're like, your bodyguards are like, okay, we won't let them near you. So who are they? What do they look like? You're like, don't worry about that. Just don't let them over here. Don't let them near me. And they're like, okay, could be anybody, right? So then the person, whoever or whatever it may be, can just break rank and come and get you because your security doesn't know what they're looking for. But if you're like, okay, they look like this, they act like this, they show up like this is how they talk, then you're like, okay, the security, the immune system, the military has identified the threat, and now it can protect you. Because if it cannot identify the threat, it cannot protect you. And guess what? Your immune system has been compromised. Why? Because the program confuses you about fear and love. And we talked about this in an earlier video when we said, for example, jealousy means I'm a jealous person, so I care. I care so much because I'm jealous. And love is not jealous. So when you have been conditioned to believe that jealousy is love, then you think that you're caring about someone by being jealous, when in fact jealousy is not care. Jealousy is fear in another form, and it's insecurity. And when you're told this and you realize that that's the truth and that you've been lying to yourself, hopefully, or you've been lied to about what jealousy is, then maybe you can find another way to look at it. You can say, yeah, I do have jealous thoughts, right? Insecure thoughts and feelings, fearful thoughts and feelings, feelings of loss, of unworthiness. And I identify those thoughts as the program's thoughts. And the program's a liar. And you know how they say devil's a liar? Program's a liar, and it's confusing me. And love wouldn't say that. Love wouldn't say I'm not enough. Love would always say that I'm enough. And I am enough because I'm from love. So therefore you use that process to correct your thinking, but first you have to identify the threat, which is that your immune system has been tricked. There's nothing wrong with your ability to correct fear and remember love. It's that you don't realize what is fear and what the program is saying and what love is saying. So some of the things that love would say, like, love is freedom. You do what you want to do. You're like, oh no, you can't do that because you did what you want to do. Then that means I would feel insecure and jealous because you're doing something I don't want you to do. Well, I don't want you to do something? That sounds a little controlling, right? Is love controlling? Is love domineering? Is love going to force anything on anyone? Now, if they don't want it that way, again, if they didn't consensually ask for it, then no, love wouldn't do that. So now you identify, okay, that's the program. Program's insecure. Program's telling me that I should try to bend you to my will and manipulate the situation and be deceptive to get what I want, because it's about me, all about me. Not about you, not about us, about me. Selfish. Who's that? Who's that sound like? Love or fear? Because there's no in-betweens. Are we together? Yeah, we're together. Continue. In order to develop immunity to the program, you must learn its thought system. You must learn the principles under which it operates. You must learn its goal. When you learn everything about the program, you will be able to identify it in all its many forms. Why? Why do you identify it in all its many forms? So you can choose against it. And when you can identify it every time, you can choose against it every time. When you choose against the program, the fear, the result is love. So here's decision time. This is the call to action. Understand that you cannot serve two masters at the same time. In other words, you cannot follow two guides that are leading you in opposite directions. It is time to It is time to make a decision. It is time to take a stand together. When? Right now. Decide. Will you take a stand for love, Naeem? Yes, I will. Will you decide that you will accept love as your only guide? Yes, I will. Will you decide that you will learn everything about the program only so you can identify it and reject it when it presents itself? Meaning strengthen my immune system so I can be safe and happy and healthy? Yes, I decide to do that. Will you decide that you are willing to follow the curriculum of love and abandon the curriculum or thought system of fear, the program? Yes, I do. Will you and your partner decide that you are both willing to join in following only the curriculum of love from now on? Will you decide that with me, partner? That we will decide to follow only the curriculum of love from now on? Yes, we do. Will you decide to claim your true inheritance, which is happiness and total fulfillment in your life and relationships? That's my inheritance. That's something money can't buy. So, yes, I do. Thank you very much. If so, please continue. Well, say it ain't so, but it is so. So we're going to continue. We're on page 49, chapter 4, the power of decision. If you want time to digest that chapter 3, the two teachers, then just pause or stop this video. In the meantime, I'm going to continue reading on page 49, chapter 4, the power of decision. It's your choice. There's only one area in your life where you have absolute power and authority. What area is that? Toilet paper! Now you run out, right? It is the power of your decision. Your greatest and absolute greatest power is in how you will decide to see things. How will you decide to perceive right now? Remember, you are free. You're free to choose how you will see things. And there are only two ways to see things. With love or with fear. The most important thing you will learn is that love is a decision. Fear is also a decision. You are either consciously choosing to love or choosing not to love. No one wants to choose for fear, and no one would consciously choose to be afraid. But remember, everyone, including me, including you, including everyone not listening and not around you right now, everyone is programmed. There are no exceptions. No one's special. So why do I often experience feelings of fear? Good question. It happens involuntarily. In other words, by default. Your mind will always return to its default setting when you are not actively directing it. And what is your mind's default setting? Your mind, my mind, our mind's default setting is fear. This is not its natural state. This is the result of years of programming. So programmatic, insane thinking becomes automatic. You know, we're programmed in different ways about our skin, about our hair, about, our socio-economic status, about our neighborhoods, where we live, about how we talk, our accents, about where we went to school. If someone keeps reacting to you, even like, oh, you went to school there, you're being programmed to look at disdain and contempt with that, like, oh, it's not good enough, it's not okay, which ultimately gets internalized as I'm not good enough, I'm not okay, I'm not enough because I went to school there, or because I didn't go to school. That's one of the ways we're programmed, and we're very, very conscious and sensitive about that, and in many, many, many different ways. The way of programming that we're addressing in this manual is the universal programming of fear. So whether it's about your politics or your sexual orientation or your skin color or your hair or how you talk, or your gender or whatever, if it's not appreciation, if it's not elevating you, it's programming. Alright? Even if it's microaggressions, it's still fear, and it's still programming, and it's still ultimately evil. Evil is something that's not good for you or good for anyone. It's not good for the person who's acting out of hostility, animosity, anger, racism, sexism, what have you. It's not healthy for them as it's not healthy for you. It's causing indigestion in them just like it's causing upset in you. So it's not good for anyone to project or receive attack in any form. So we're not focusing on just one form. And by the way, we all have our special functions here. So if your function is to talk about how our negative selfish behavior is affecting the planet and the climate, that's what you should go do. That's what you should go advocate. You should go bring awareness to. If it's about sexism, if it's about gender inequality, if it's about any of these things, it's all a different form of the same ultimate disease, which is the program. We're here to talk about the root of how that disease thinks. Because if you understand how it thinks, then you'll see the divisiveness in all the ways, whether it's political, religious, families, your mother-in-law, whatever it may be. It all comes down to one thing. And what's that? Separation. Separation, right? And separation, not just physical separation, but separation is in when I think of that person, that political party, that gender, that group, that religion, I feel disgusted. They're bad, they're evil, they're wrong, whatever. But how do you feel when you're thinking that way about them? Do you feel great? If you don't feel great, then the way you're thinking is thinking. Pun intended. Moving on. So, our mind's default setting is fear. It's not our natural state. It's the result of years of programming. So the programmatic, insane thinking becomes automatic. What we are doing now is learning to unlearn and deprogram that fear with the goal of our default thinking to be loving thoughts. So how do we do this? Simple. Decide to set the goal for love all the time. Important. When you do not make a conscious and undivided decision to express, meaning give and receive love, you are choosing, by default, fear. You're choosing the program. And how does that feel? Just talked about this. Fear feels like guilt. It feels like distress. It feels like drama, judgment, attack, conflict, emotional pain, and what? Separation. So decide to take back control of your mind, of how you're thinking. Here's a quick little quiz a yes or no questionnaire I'd like to ask. You don't have to answer out loud, but it's yes or no. And I'll get to the point when I'm done. So here's the thing. Do you believe everything that the media tells you? Yes or no? Do you believe everything that the government tells you? Yes or no? Do you believe everything that the people in your life tell you? Yes or no? Do you believe everything the newspaper, the television, the social media tells you? No. So all these, even the trusted authorities, do you believe everything that they tell you? And I'm talking about every single thing. Right? Yes or no? So if you answered no to any of those, then my question is, why oh why would you believe everything that you think in your mind? Every thought that comes across the plane of your mind. Why would you believe all of them? Interesting, right? So if we don't believe even our trusted authority, our news and our government, and a lot of our programming comes from media and our environment, then we can't help but think the thoughts that's been kind of drilled into our heads, then why would you believe all the thoughts that come through your head? Just a thought, just a question. It's not right or wrong to believe it. It's just saying, why would you believe it if you don't believe anything else from any other source? Why would you believe your own thinking? Is the question. You can no longer afford to be mentally passive and allow your mind and your relationship to run on cruise control. Because who set the cruise control or default setting in your mind and about your relationship? That's right, the program. Universal principle. Indecisiveness always leads to fear. In other words, we were saying cruise control is kind of like your car is always moving. Your car is your mind. It's moving forward. You're on the road. Even if the road is straight, if you take your hands off the wheel, what's going to eventually happen? Even with perfect alignment, eventually either the road will shift or your car will shift and you'll go off-road. You have to constantly adjust. Your mind is always thinking. Here's a quick thing to know about your mind. It's an excellent receiver of information, and it's a perfect, like its ability to answer questions is like perfect. It'll always answer the question as best it can. So it's very important if you want to control your mind, like you want to say, well, how do I control this phone or this app or this car? The way to control your mind is with questions, to control what you're thinking. So here's 2 questions that are designed to be around the same kind of topic. So for example, what do you think is wrong with me? And now automatically your mind's going to think, well, here's some answers. I think you could have, done this and that. You look crazy or whatever. Here's another question. What do you appreciate about me? Right? So you look at yourself in the mirror and you ask, what do I appreciate about myself today? Might carry a different energy than what's wrong with me? Why am I so ugly? Why am I not enough? Or whatever questions you ask, your mind is going to give you an answer. You know why you're not enough? Because you were late last time to that meeting and everybody's looking at you, so that's probably why. It's not going to tell you all about those times you were amazing and you did great and your presence was amazing. It's not going to talk about that. It's going to talk about what you asked it. So why am I so bad? Why am I so dumb? Why am I so stupid? Those questions will direct your mind to give you an answer to them. So how about instead of asking that, you ask a different kind of question? What do I appreciate about myself today? What do I look forward to today? What am I grateful for? What are the qualities and the people in my life that I'm grateful for? How great is my life, right? Ask those questions. So again, indecisiveness always leads to fear. The question is, how do you make decisions? You've learned that there are only 2 guides from which to decide with, love or the program, fear. So how do you recognize them? Each guide or teacher has rules for making decisions. It is important you're familiar with these rules. Why? So you will always know how to identify what guide you're listening to. So now we're on to a clarity chart. Rules for decision. Put that up on the screen, please, Naeem. Rules for decision. So on the left, we have program decisions. On the right, we have love decisions. So program decisions are difficult. They have difficulty. It'll be difficult for you to do. Love decisions are easy. It will be easy for you to do. So the program's decisions involve unwillingness and resistance. You don't want to do it. Love's decisions involve willingness. You want to do it. The program's decisions take time. You can't do it now. Results are in the future. Love's decisions take no time. You can do it right now. You can experience results right now. The program's decisions are attached to a specific outcome, meaning expectations. And how many expectations are appropriate? 0. Love's decisions are unattached to a specific outcome. It's about enjoying the experience. So what does this mean? Let's take a deeper look. First, let's talk about that this is not about the difficulty with which you're doing an actual thing. Like, for example, you work 2 jobs to support your family. That sounds pretty difficult if you're working that much, right? It's like, that's not an easy thing. But it's about the content. Why are you doing it? Because you love your family, you want to support your family, you want to be able to provide for your family, and it brings you pleasure to do that, then it's easy. It doesn't mean it's the job description entails less work and effort, but it's easier than being like, oh, I gotta pay this bill, I gotta take care of these kids, I gotta pay these lights and mortgage and etc. That's difficult. That's a difficult weight to carry with you anytime, to any workplace or any place, to feel all of that resistance. That's heavy, that's difficult, and that's what we mean. It's about your thought system, how you're thinking about work, not about the actual task at hand. So I just wanted to make that clear. Back to forming content. We'll get to that. Moving on. Difficulty versus ease. When the program guides you to do something, it will always be something that is difficult for you to do. Love always guides you to what is easy and effortless for you to do. So for that person that wants to provide for themselves and their family, it will be more difficult for them to sit at home and watch Netflix than to get off their ass and go work and provide and do what they know brings them pleasure to do. That would be more difficult for them. It's like, you know what? Don't do anything. And I know it's kind of weird talking during this time. It's like, yeah, don't do anything. Just self-isolate and don't go anywhere, do anything. Just, that's it. The only time in history where it's like, stay home and do nothing. It's the best thing for everyone. Moving on. Unwillingness versus resistance. Unwillingness and resistance versus willingness. The program always wants you to do things that you just don't want to do, which means you're sacrificing your peace by doing it. Love always wants you to do what you want to do. What you have willingness to do it. If you're willing and want to do something, it will be easy for you, as we said. Now we're in time versus no time. The program is bound by time. It also believes you are bound by time. So it tells you can't have what you want right now, and you can't do what you want to do right now. You have to wait to have results. Love operates right now. And love teaches you that there's always one thing you can do right now. And what is that one thing that you can always do right now? Remember the title of this chapter? The power of decision? You can make decisions right now. You can use your power of decision right now. You can decide that you want to see things with love right now. So attached to a specific outcome versus unattached to a specific outcome. To be attached to a specific outcome is a game. Only the program is concerned with winning. Love knows for certain that there will be a happy outcome to all things in your relationships. Therefore, love is not attached to the form the outcome will take. Love principle. It's only okay if it's okay either way. What does that mean? That, I would say, if you remember anything from this book, remember that. It is only okay if it's okay either way. How about that? If you remember that, one more time, it's only okay if it's okay either way. So you're single, you want to be in a relationship. It's only okay to be in a relationship. It's okay not to be in a relationship, right? It's only okay to be in a relationship that you're in if it's okay not to be. It's like, well, I got to stay in this relationship or else. It's only okay if it's okay either way. This is the point. This is ease. This is where there's no pressure, where it's okay either way. And this is not lack of a decision. This is actually a 200% solution, a 200% decision. So I invite people to my party or to come join me. I'm like, hey, come join me. Come to Love 101 and let's have a conversation. And I'm really hoping they come. And then someone cancels at the last minute. Well, that should be okay. It should only be okay to invite someone if it's okay if they don't come. You understand? Is it a subpoena? Do they have to come? That's not free. That's not loving. It's only okay to show up if it's okay if you don't. That's the place you want to show up to. That it's okay either way. Not where you're going to be. Again, we're not talking about work and contractual obligations. We're talking about free relationships between people where, hey, you want to come over and eat, have lunch with me today? Yeah, sure. Or no, maybe another day. It should be okay either way. And I should be happy when someone declines or offsets my invitation, because that means that they're doing something that they really wanted to do. And since that's what's bringing them happiness and I want them to be happy, I want them to do that if I love them. You follow me? If you like horror movies and I like comedy, and we go to the movies and you hate comedy and I hate horror, then we should be going to the movie theater together and then going to our separate movies in order to have a good time. Unless we find, let's say, action film we both like. Then we should do that. But it's like, well, because I'm with you, I got to drag myself into this horror movie. No, that's not loving. That's compromise and sacrifice, which is not of love. We'll get into that in the later chapters. It's only okay if it's okay either way. It's only okay if it's okay either way. It's only okay if it's what? Okay either way. If you remember this one principle when doing anything with anyone, your partner included, it will save you both a lot of time. Being attached to a specific outcome causes strain because it comes from expectations. Expectations put you and your partner under enormous pressure. What kind of pressure? Enormous pressure. Enormous pressure to perform, to show up, to have a certain experience together, to be a certain way, to respond a certain way. Even with these text messages, right? Well, you didn't respond in 5 seconds, so oh my God, freaking out. There should be no pressure. Love doesn't involve strain. Love doesn't involve expectations on any level. Love doesn't involve pressure of any kind. Which is why with love, it's only okay if it's okay either way. Or either way, right? It's only okay if it's okay either way. You should be able to say it both ways and it still be okay. For example, when is the best time to do something together? When it's okay if you don't do it right now. When's the best time to give your partner a gift? When they're not expecting one, which means it's okay if you don't give them a gift. When's the best time to spend time together? When it's okay if you don't at this time. Decide you will be totally committed to the experience you are having, and you'll be totally unattached to a specific outcome. This is the proper use of your power. This is how you decide to let love lead the way in your relationship. And that's the Power of Decision, Chapter 4. We've completed it. Yay for us. And to finish on this note, that reminds me of a conversation I was having about wants and needs. And basically the conclusion we came to is that it's better to be desired than needed. When we're talking about another grown adult in your life, it's better to be wanted than needed. Because if you're needed, someone needs something from you, and again, this is not an employment situation, it's a free relationship, then that creates dependency, codependency, fear, inequality, strain, oppression. It's better to be self-contained and fulfilled and happy already, and then decide, I desire to spend time with you right now. And you also desire to spend time with me right now. We don't have to. We don't live together. We don't share the same responsibilities or obligations. We don't have to do this together. We choose to. And even if you do live with someone, you don't have to. You don't have to continue to. It's a choice. And it's your choice for as long as you want to. Right? And so when you want to, when you know that someone truly is there because they want to be there, that means more than those who are there because they feel they have to be. Right? You call someone, it's not like they're 911. Oh, I gotta show up. You call them, they're free. They're like, you know what? You called me, you asked me to come over. I want to come over. Thank you for the invitation. I'll see you later. And then again, it's only okay, right? If it's okay either way, if they show up or not. So we covered a lot. That was great. Thank you for listening. Thank you for reading. Thank you for joining. That was The Two Teachers, Chapter 3, and The Power of Decision, Chapter 4. Next time we will be on page 54, Chapter 5, Love. Clarifying love. It's about time, Naeem. Let's clarify love. Let's get it done. In any case, I'm Naeem Najieb, and this has been another episode of Love 101 Media, where our goal is to open a conversation about love and healthy relationships. This is another installment of our Love is Not a Game series. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Love is not a game.